in this chaos or confusion in pharmaceutical marketing, in this lockdown period, I see a positive vibe here. At least everybody is trying to do something to do, trying to connect with each other, learn from each other to come out of that situation where we can connect and engage our doctors, the customer, the patient in a much more effective way. I personally see that this lockdown has given a trigger, time, and some sort of stimulation to deep dive on this situation, how to use digital. With this, let me come to the point, content marketing. Those of you who join a little later, I was asking some questions to the audience that how many of you were keeping a TV remote in your hand when you are watching TV? Most of the people said yes, me. I was asking also what is the cost of one TV commercial of 30 seconds. I think the response came in lakhs, not in thousand. And most of the pharmaceutical brand manager in the group right now responded that they cannot afford to uh, use the TV as an advertisement tool, reaching out to customer, even if the government or the legislations allow that. Now that brings to one sort of concept here. It is called interruption advertising. All the advertisement we see in TV, it is called interruptive advertisement, because when we are amidst of watching a movie or looking at the news or any content, suddenly there is a commercial break, and then we feel bad about that. Most of the time it interrupts. That's why it is called interruptive advertising, interruptive marketing, even you can say. I said this because to make a background of content marketing is just opposite to that, right? That makes a little bit interesting. Another point, the cost of uh, commercial or even newspaper advertisement is very high. However, the cost of content marketing become very cheap, rather I say. Not only cheap, more engaging, because you have a multiple format. Even you can reach out to the illiterate population in case of patient engagement in vernacular language to ways are the most effective way. With this background, since we have expert here, I'm going to furnish to help us to understand as a concept what is content marketing, and focus more on how what it means to us in a pharmaceutical marketing or healthcare marketing as a whole. Over to finish.
Yes, Pranav. So the first thing that we need to understand is that we have to differentiate between the concept of content marketing versus digital marketing. So the first part, when we talk about content marketing, in my opinion, all types of marketing, if it is effectively done, then it has to be content marketing. So fundamentally, there is no difference in detailing by a sales rep versus whether it is done by digital content marketing. You have a marketing message for the doctor, and then you have a choice of different channels. So the sales rep channel that you have traditionally is good for adding a human touch, whereas when it comes to digital channels, it is very good at reach, speed, analytics, cost effectiveness, and other parameters. So what I would say is that no one channel of marketing, whether it is sales rep or whether it is digital, serves all the purpose. As a pharma marketer, our job is to use the right mix of messaging across channel and doing our content marketing across all these channels in right way. So that is my take on the content marketing. And at DocPlexus, we have been working with almost all major pharma companies in India today. And I have seen them evolving from a position where they were asking why digital content marketing in the first place. And now they are in a situation where they are talking about when do we start doing it. So that is a major shift that I have witnessed myself in the industry.
Great. I think very nicely summed up in a very few words. Dr. Sunil Deshpande. Dr. Sunil, as an academician, teaching pharmaceutical marketing and a strategy to future leader, to the student, the working professionals in many NBB programs which you do. I think the industry leaders are also getting trained by you. Where do you see this content marketing has a position or a space in a whole context of pharmaceutical marketing?
Yeah, see, content marketing is basically, what is content marketing? Content marketing is a part of social media marketing. And what is social media marketing? Social media marketing is a part of the digital marketing. So content marketing actually, according to me, holds a very big promise and very high potential to supplement the efforts of I would say classical marketing or traditional marketing or conventional marketing practices adopted by various organizations. Number one. Number two, content marketing actually, what is the difference between the content marketing and the classical marketing? Content marketing offers you a very individualistic approach, a very personalized approach. And as a result of that, it becomes more valuable and more relevant from the stakeholders' perspective. And number three, content marketing actually tries to bring in those solutions which you cannot bring in with respect to your classical marketing. For example, here you have a very big opportunity to address certain real life scenarios which are there in the stakeholders, which can be doctors or which can be patients. So content marketing can offer you very valuable solutions which otherwise you are not able to create in your marketing practices. So I mean, a lot I would say can be talked about content marketing, but I see content marketing which actually goes hand in hand with certain other areas in digital marketing. For example, inbound marketing. The preceding talk, what you talked about, the advertisements on the television, is nothing but an example of outbound marketing, which is a part of your digital marketing. So there is, on the opposite end, there is something called as inbound marketing, and inbound marketing becomes a very big component of content marketing. If content marketing has to be successful, then inbound marketing also needs to be having a big area of success. So in short, I would say my opinion is content marketing holds a lot of potential to supplement the classical marketing or the traditional marketing. Content marketing gives you an opportunity for personalization, which is very important on the digital front. And third, content marketing offers you the possibility of offering solutions to the various stakeholders which are real life, which is concerned with their real life problem areas. I'm talking of problem areas in healthcare. And of course, there are many other things about content marketing, which of course we will discuss and share as we move on in this discussion. Over to you, Pranav.
Thanks, Dr. Sunil. Actually, you talked about one of the very fascinating point, particularly for me, about customization or personalization, what is called individualization part of the marketing or advertising. A long back, I think many of you must have heard the name Professor C.K. Prahlad. C.K. Prahlad, when he died, he no more. He died out of, I think, heart attack suddenly before time. He talked about a theory called N is equal to 1, R is equal to G. N is equal to 1 means one customer. So organizations, corporations in future, he talked about in 90s and 20s to 2000 early actually, that they will be serving, the big organization will be serving just one customer at a time. We managed to collate, and there are 51 people at this moment when I'm talking. Objective is not to teach you about content marketing. So anybody is coming in, I see some of the students are also logged in, thinking that we are going to teach you content marketing. Is not. We are simply trying to give you some sort of trigger to think through further, reflect upon the possibilities out of content marketing for pharmaceutical and healthcare, just to inspire you, my panelists, if they are able to inspire you to research further, to try further. I think our job is done. With these comments, I would come to Pawan Kulkarni, and I'm repeating the questions again for the benefit of audience. That Pawan, where do you see in future, short term and long term, the content marketing being the part of the core of marketing strategy of a typical pharmaceutical company?
But let me put it some context, because I love giving analogies and all. How many of you, you might raise your hands or this thing, so I'll get to know. But rather than a question, I'll make it as a statement. How many of you have been having this question since last 1 month or so during the lockdown? Ki what to cook at home?
So you can, people can respond in the chat box. Yes.
Yeah. What to cook at home? So again, I want to correlate this to the situation which we are going. I know many of men have become cooks, and maybe after this, all of us can participate in MasterChef as well. The same situation is happening today with the pharma industry. We can't go out. What to do? I think we all can relate. Another example. How many of you, you all might, I mean, rather asking question, I would pinpoint. You might have got these messages of, take tulsi, eat tulsi, drink hot water, gargle with, what you call, salt water, or don't sit in a AC, or sit in the sun so corona doesn't. Yeah. Most of us, almost all of us might have this thing, and especially our older generation always tell the kids, ki tulsi khao, ye khao. Tulsi was there in our house since years together and all. So from where this content comes, and why only now? So I am giving you this example. I'll come back to you again. Another part, we all with this are on an autopilot mode. The reason is we all are in the same boat. We have been doing a typical habitual same circle. A product is launched, send it, availability, go to the doctor. The MR will go meet, show the visual aid, next visit, visit 1, visit 2, visit 3. Now suddenly everything has cut off. Now what to do? So we all have gone into, we had been into a autopilot mode, and autopilot thinking rather, because it's a limitation of thinking. And suddenly when this happened, everybody is naturally, we all know, we are all doing the same thing of webcast. Now in that webcast, I think, no, before webcast, it rather started with WhatsApp messages. Now within 3 days, doctors got pissed off. They started replying not to send WhatsApp messages and all. Then suddenly it shifted to webcast. Now all are going through webcast. Now the autopilot thinking is going across the industry. And now the fight, the race is who got more number of webcasts and who got more number of doctors on their panel. This is one of the autopilot thinking across the industry. This is nothing new, but this happens anytime when the crisis hits the industry. Having said this, I would like to quote my dear friend Panish Docplexus. I always follow his data. There are a lot of good analytics and doctor behavior online. In one of his, he will endorse me. In one of his, this thing a couple of years back, which I noticed before COVID, he said 53% of doctors said that medical reps don't add value to their practice. This was a research, and this was when we were going into earlier set of marketing. And most important, since we missed out this message since last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or last 1 month, we have been marketing. Talking about all this COVID and all new digital. Suddenly, our traditional model has become traditional. Something which we were doing 1 month back, suddenly it has become traditional. That is how the transition or a paradigm shift has been taking. So coming back, 53% of doctors said during the normal time of working of a typical face-to-face that medical reps don't add value. Now my question, somebody was asking me before I joined, metrics ke bare mein kya hai, how do you measure digital and all this has been, I was talking to some people, Now my question to them who have been doing this so-called, even to myself, 53% don't add any value to the doctors. What is the metrics for that? How will you measure that? I'm leaving that with the question. Coming back, I'll answer all these questions at the end. Coming back, in terms of marketing, I feel there is a 5-fold task, just for all of us to remember. There's a 5 times work which pharma has now in hand. Giving a context why I'm saying this, I was researching on this thing for one of the presentations 6 months back on content. In US market in 2019, they searched the most forwarded and most read articles on health. It was only limited to the bracket of health. What were those contents? Now let me start. There were 100 articles which were picked, which were most shared or most read, or which had more number of hits through the developed metrics. The 10th was PCOD. I'm talking US market. The 10th was related to PCOD. The 9th was about depression. Before that, how can cycling? This was an article and topic. How can cycling in old age keep your immune system young? This was an 8. Another was on stem cell. Another was in terms of cold and flu. What is the difference? The 4th was bacon. The non-veg bacon is more harmful than a cigarette, which WHO gave it in, I think, 2017 something. That was the most searched article because they have a non-vegetarian as their diet. Third most was obesity. Was whatever you know about obesity is wrong. This was the most circulated. Benefits of walking. This was the second. And the most surprisingly, among health brackets, I'm not talking about the FMCG or any other category, this thing, among the bracket of health, the most searched or the most shared article was marijuana, that is cannabis. This is 100 times less toxic than alcohol and safer than tobacco. This was the article topic. Now understand why I'm saying this. The number 1 most searched health article was cannabis is less toxic than alcohol and safer than tobacco. Now, this is not the end to it. Most important, there were some medically authorized teams which reviewed these articles. And they found that 70% of these articles were fake, or they didn't have any backup study, or they didn't have any, they had multiple inaccuracies in their the content. Surprisingly, the most of these inaccurate content got more than 5 million forwards in 1 year. So not only why I'm telling you this thing is, if you have gone any of these brand managers, if you have brand managers on panel, go search your brand in Twitter, go search your brand in Facebook, go search your brand in Google, and most important, any other search engines, especially YouTube. And I'll find any good known brand will have some random chemist sitting uneducated fellow who has done a review of this brand, and it has got around 10,000 hits. Now imagine this is what the content you want your customers to see. I'm not talking only about the doctor. So content is everything. You blog, you do a video, you send a photo, anything can be a content. I'm not content doesn't mean it is only a write-up or a page of a blog or an article. It can be a video content, it can be audio content, it can be a podcast, so many things. So based on this, I'll come to that this thing before handing it to her. Based on all this circle, the Indian pharma industry or the brand managers mainly right now, marketers, they have a 5-fold task. I'll share with you what is a 5-fold task and specifically limiting my talk to only content. Right? Over to you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting insight you have put to the group, actually. I see some of the comments. I will come back to you, and before that to other panel. I see some of the comments, and this is lovely to read, actually. So Ashish Jan writes, yes, because of the quality of the MR, doctor don't see value in MR. And actually, in the mind of all the people who are related with the pharmaceutical marketing, even their children and their parents or their family member are working in the industry, they are feeling that danger is lurking above their head. People are talking what the job medical rep will do tomorrow if the digital adoption becomes norm in pharmaceutical post-lockdown period. That's a separate discussion. I'm not going into that. So Ashish, possibly we'll have a full session
but
on that.
I can give you a gist of it.
Yeah.
I can quickly give you a gist of it because I'm highly passionate about these things. I'll tell you, I don't know how many of you know what is Google Nearby. Google Nearby is an app which recently launched during COVID period, and it was there, in fact, but they have given this special services for people to know what are the medicines which are available nearby their house. Now imagine what is Google Nearby. Google Nearby, what I feel, or a similar platform or a platform similar in coming years, 1 year or 2, you can sit at your house. You can, you want XYZ medicine brand, you want rice, you want dal, you want screwdriver. The digitalization, which will be so much in depth with this kind of an service, that the app will give you, whether you have to go to one shop or you have to go to multiple shops, it will show you what is the stock in the shop. Everything will be shown, which also means for the retailer, all the things will be computerized, which is already in the process. This will be linked to the CFAs, this will be linked to the company, to the production. So the real-time data on the in-stock market, which will be available in coming months in the similar kind of a system. So what happens to the MR in this? Very interestingly, the MR's role will be guided by more of a artificial intelligence. This will be the biggest change in the future.
Thanks, Pawan. Thanks for input here. So one question here for the audience, all of you, because you got some feel about content marketing. Let me tell you very, very honestly, I am still feeling confused how I can use content marketing effectively without any distraction in pharmaceutical marketing as such. But one thing I am very clear about, it can be used very effectively, very cost effectively, and it can do certain work which none of the available traditional media can do that. That is for sure. Yes, it will take some time to understand how to use that. So this questions to you is that how many of you, or do you feel that content marketing can bridge certain gaps, can aid certain value in pharmaceutical marketing? If yes, just type I. If no, type N. I'm asking to the audience, if you believe that content marketing can add value in the pharmaceutical marketing in this scenario, and after that, type I in the chat box. If no, type N in the chat box. Okay, okay. I think a lot of people saying that. I see the member of parliament using the parliamentary language here. Good. Non-parliamentary language is not allowed, but yes, parliamentary language is fine. Yes, yes. Okay, so I think most of you think that. It is good at least to discuss together what are the possibilities, how it can be done. It is a tricky, but how it can be done in an effective, safe way. We'll come to the panel again now. Let me talk to Fanis, asking, as I said, and he also said, way ahead of the time, he started content marketing and approaching doctors and pharmaceutical company to adopt or use, leverage the content marketing. So my questions to Fanis is a slightly different, a very pinpointed question, Fanis. What are the problem you observe? Nobody could have told you, but what is the problem you observe? What's the roadblock in accepting, adopting, or using content marketing by pharmaceutical company, or receiving it by healthcare professionals, doctors?
So, Pranav, there were two kind of challenges that we faced as a startup in 2015 when we were trying to bring this concept in the industry. The first kind of challenges were more related to we being a new player, coming with a novel idea and having almost very limited background and knowledge of the industry. So we came up with a value proposition and tried to position ourselves that yes, content marketing is the future. At that time, because it was entirely new, only a few people wanted to bet on a team which was new, concept that was novel. So those were different kind of challenges. So like before a sales kind of challenges that we faced from the industry. And the second kind of challenges we faced post sales. For example, a marketer in the pharma has already given us a buy-in and he wants to do content marketing. Once the concept is sold, then the biggest challenge was there, because this was something
I think there is a buffering in the
defined but yes, budget for the project. So even the medical affairs team was fully occupied with what they were doing. The marketers were doing their job. So for us, the stakeholder alignment, so that all the different functions we were involved with in the pharma company, how do we ensure that execution is done right for the content marketing on our platform so that it becomes successful? For example, a single piece of content that goes live on web, it requires approval from medical affairs. You need to create the content, you need the support of media team, and overall it has to get aligned with all different teams. And imagine this being as an over and above what they were already doing. So it came as an extra task for all the people in the organization. So I would say that aligning their interest with the success of the project with the right spirit, it was a major challenge in the beginning for us. So what I would say that conceptually content marketing, digital marketing, only a few people have doubt. But the challenge is that once they buy in, how do they keep focused and aligned to bring the best out of it?
Okay. So I will come to one comments mentioned by Vikram here. He writes that I just having apprehension that without ecosystem in place, how content marketing will be effective. I also agree with you, Vikram. Uh, the problem is that who will create the ecosystem, and how the people involved in creating ecosystem will feel sensitized unless until you and me and all the people who are going to get affected directly or indirectly, including the doctors and the patient, are talking about that possibilities of content marketing. Yes, there has to be ecosystem, and I'm very hopeful, rather optimistic that ecosystem will emerge and going to emerge. That is a very valid comments by Vikram. Thanks for the comments. Coming back to what Fanish said, before I come to Professor, Dr. Sunil here, Anish, when he Fanish, when he started that content marketing to pharmaceutical company, I also felt the same difficulty. Let me share my experience. I was trying to use content marketing for a new molecule in my previous company. So somehow we aligned the brand manager. It's a lot of effort he got aligned. Then I aligned the head of the business. He was aligned. Then a level of also was aligned. And we started doing some content marketing concept using DocPrexis, of course, because we don't had our own system that time. What happened? After some time, the turnover, the labor turnover, the people changes company, this company to other company or this division to other company. It happened, the marketing manager got changed. The new person came, he said, why we are not talking about brand? Why should you pay for something where the molecule is being talked about, or something where even disease is being talked about? So these are the things I now remember when Fanish is saying that it's a problem in the ecosystem of pharmaceutical company itself. I request Ajay, your microphone is on, please switch off your microphone, Ajay Shah. So the internal alignment in something I personally felt as a insider in a pharmaceutical company is a big deal. It's actually a big bottlenecks in aligning that. And people changes, new person comes, he says, yeah, but why this is the bullshit, remove it. Now the lockdown happened, right? Same person actually yesterday trying to ask me how can we do that now, because they don't have any other option, maybe something like that. So sometimes by force situation gives you, but that is not the right way. All of us use our influence within the ecosystem, within the organization, to a certain extent, to convince our superiors, cross-functional team, showing them the possibilities maybe from the other industry, and showing them that you are if you are not doing that, you are going to be laggard and you lose your competitive advantage. My question to Dr. Sunil Pandey here is related to that. Do you see content marketing as a competitive advantage at least days to come?
Yeah, I mean, I was just, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yeah, I was just pondering with respect to, for the last few minutes, on the various aspects of the comments, as well as the way in which we are thinking about. Now, I would just spend a couple of minutes on this before I really move on to tackle your question. Now, the first thing is that we are all talking about COVID, and we are all talking about this current extraordinary situation that we are into. But let me tell you that it's not for the first time that the world is facing a pandemic. We have faced the SARS, we have faced the H1N1, and we have faced so many pandemics historically. And maybe I'm not trying to comment upon the comparison of the severity of the pandemics. But the fact is that any ecosystem, whether it is industry or whether it is a non-industry or whether it is academia or whether it is any kind of a vertical, wouldn't like to remain, in a state of abnormality over a longer period of time. So there are certain changes which happen in the ecosystem, but these changes happen maybe for a short period of time. They are basically manifestations of certain reactions which need to be taken because of this extraordinary situation. What do I mean by that? Okay, for example, yes, there has been certain negative impacts upon productivity. There has been certain negative impacts upon the turnovers. There has been certain impact upon the profitability. And as a result of which, basically, maybe for the immediate future, you try to minimize your overheads. You try to have cost reduction exercise, and you try to save costs wherever and whenever it is possible. So, an extraordinary situation, according to me, does not change the ecosystem which has got a permanent kind of an impact. Okay, it's a short-term impact. Things would come back to normalcy. Maybe there would be some aspects which would be trying to get control, and then, probably the way in which we were functioning, it would actually move ahead with that. Having said that, when we come to looking at not only content marketing, but I would actually address this to pharmaceutical or even non-pharmaceutical marketing professionals, that basically there is no clear-cut strategy, or there is no clear-cut solution taking into consideration on particular various inputs. Like, for example, we have been talking about digital, and it does not mean that the marketing practices which were followed earlier have totally become redundant. No way. Now, what is left to the marketing professional is the fact that how do we create a strategy out of all these tactical inputs. And digital, or maybe even content marketing, how do we utilize content marketing as a strategy? There are two aspects. One is content marketing per se, and second one is a content marketing strategy. So I would address this to maybe the marketing professionals, that you don't have an equation like 1 + 1 = 2, and that 2 will be actually giving you solutions or marketing solutions to a particular problem or to a particular brand of yours. What is imperative in the future, I feel, is as technology moves ahead, we need to practice more of IMC concept, which is integrated marketing concept, integrated marketing communications. And content marketing also becomes a part of the integrated marketing approach towards marketing. So maybe what I would like to say is, how can we leverage content marketing as a strategy is what needs to be looked into. Over to you, Pranav.
Okay, I think what I liked is the word you used, integrated marketing. Just a few days back, I was watching a webinar, similar webinar, and the participants were from PGI Chandigarh. All the senior doctors, HODs, and were the participants, and they were talking about integrated medicine. And they were sharing that how this they can integrate the different kinds of medicine practice into the new system, holistic or integrated medicine. I think that gives the hope for marketing us also here. I will come back. I think we have exhausted the time here. So I will ask all three of you to make a final comments of 1 minute. Before that, I have a questions to Kulkarni Pawan here. Is that as Dr. Deshpande was talking about a strategy, as a whole strategy, content marketing, for any component of the strategy to inbuilt or to buy the ownership of the superiors or the management, you have to show the ROI, right? So you have to show that this strategy is going to work, improve this much of sale or whatever different metrics are there. So as a strategy head of a typical industry, one should look for which types of metrics, what they should get an yearly indicator. Sales is the very lag metrics, it comes much later. But before sales comes, for any strategy, may in this case is content marketing, to include the content marketing as a part of a strategy. What are the needle moving metrics you see pharmaceutical some companies are looking for?
See, first of all, it's a case of, again, I'm telling, we have a typical habit. If you give a hammer to somebody, they will find a nail, they will search for a nail. So it is coming back to the same thing. Now, we have been associated with, we go to a doctor, doctor prescribes, so that is a metric. Sale comes, that is a metric. Now, in digital, it doesn't directly work like that. In digital, there are, many of the digital campaigns run for 6 months, 7 months with SEO, search engine optimization. It needs to be taken for 1 year, then some result starts coming. So it doesn't mean that, you have done, you have clicked a button on your laptop and sales starts coming. No. Digital, typically, basic principles of marketing doesn't change even in digital. Again, you have to go back by AIDA theory, that attention, interest, desire, action. Now, only the span differs here. Whether it is a patient journey or whether it is a doctor's journey from awareness to a prescriber, a regular prescriber. The parameter differs based on the timing. 1 point. Now, if you understand the entire journey of all these, especially for the doctors, when we are talking more about how to reach out to the doctors is the biggest concern. I'll give you a simple example, how to put a metrics. But before that, a simple example. We have today a lot of content ready with the pharma brand managers or marketing managers, say like a product monograph. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware, in majority of cases in US, in FMCG sectors, the product monograph is converted into, now, if I say go digital means, most of the things is put the same content in a web page and share the web page. That is what we normally think. But understand, I'll give you one small idea. Majority of law firms, majority of service providers, hotels, they run on chatbots. Now, chatbot is one of the content filter. Now, the same monograph you are having ready with the content, you can convert it into a chatbot, make it a user-friendly experience. Instead of making a doctor or a patient read n number of pages, which you have in fact, when we all know that even if we printed a monograph, nobody used to read it. Let us be honest. So if you convert the same using the artificial intelligence and make it a chatbot and use it to experience. Now, many of the things, how do you measure? Once you do, you get to know a lot of metrics which are available in digital front. How many clicks, how many this thing, how many impressions. There are multiple things. There is a concept of pay-per-click, PCP, PPC, and there is pay-per impression. Now, these service providers, and including, I think, Docplexus is much more, he is much better in understanding on all these things. These parameters are available. And the one biggest parameter we need to think when we move to digital is, it is not about prescriptions, it is about the awareness. Simple example. We don't go and buy Fevicol every time, but we are aware about Fevicol and we day in and day out see the Fevicol advertisement. We don't buy butter every day, but Amul spends every day one comic strip in Times of India. So there is an awareness level which is more important. So when you shift your thinking from a drastic change from your one-to-one marketing to a content marketing, your first and foremost priority is set your objectives. What do you want to achieve? What exactly you want to achieve with by doing this? How many doctors? How specific you want? What message you want to derive out of it? In what parameters you want to derive? And where is your cutoff or limit point? You need not have to go extempore with that. Another way of metrics. Now coming to this is related, somebody handling hospital products or intensive care products which are directly supplied to hospitals. Now the data says that 70% of infrastructure of Indian hospitals are limited to the top 20 cities. Just 20 cities, biggest hospitals, infrastructures are available. Now these 20 cities are manageable, measurable, and even achievable. So there are, like medical reps, we go all out. Typical meetings we always do. We go all out. Earlier we used to do. In digital, we can't go all out. We have to be very sharp because digital has a full platter of services. Not all products require everything. Not all platforms are required by every product. So we have to be very choosy, like Panish told, what specifically we want to achieve. Choose that, only on that point, based on that, put it across. So this is what I tried. Metrics are available. How you measure, everything is measurable. Everything is measurable, depending if we come out of the earlier thinking that my measurement is only prescription, only sales. That's it.
Very, very nicely, Pawan. I think you have hit bullseye. Most of the pharmaceutical guy I talk, the leadership guy I'm talking about, not the middle management, they are thinking, yeah, sales or prescription. If not sales, at least the credit goes to some of the people who have started CMAR kind of survey. Prescription is at least seen nowadays as a metrics to measure. Otherwise, actually,
I'll give you one example. In last 1 week, I don't want to. There's the sound. Okay, I don't want to give the brand names very quickly. I'm very active on Twitter and all with some people. So I just randomly put up some famous brands. I don't want to name the brand names, right? On an average, I put all these brands which were 50 crore and above in the IQVIA data, and all are chronic brands. 50 crore ke upar, chronic brands. On Twitter, I found on an average for these famous brands, 6 to 7 tweets at least, somebody asking, we are not getting this medicine, somebody help. With the brand name. How many of brand managers have gone there? This is digital.
They don't know. Unfortunately,
I think these is digital. It's not just digital. Typically, iPad le liya, iPad detailing. No, I mean, sorry.
So actually, what Pawan you said could be a point for discussion in a whole session. Maybe next time we'll cover up. Is something you have tool. So the moment, the last second, if somebody put any comments in any social media or any digital media about your brand, the brand manager can get a trigger.
Absolutely.
So there is technology around that. We call it voice over customer. You have
Absolutely.
to build those system into that VOC, voice of customer. You should be able to listening your customer, social listening.
Yes, sir,
Tool. Simple.
I would like to add one point here. Starting from what Pawan was saying, that there are touch points created from the marketer's side, and then there are opportunities where we need to respond to patients' requests or complaints. So even while working with some of the clients at DocPlexus, we often had cases where the doctors were proactively asking for additional information, or if they had doubts. Sometimes what we observed that because some of the clients in pharma, they were reluctant to respond to, they requested us to simply disable all the commenting from doctors on the content, rather than taking it as an opportunity and responding to it. So it really comes as a surprise that on one hand, you have a marketing message with which you want to go all out and reach out to your target customers. And when these customers are trying to reach out to you, then you don't take it as an opportunity to leverage. So as
Absolutely.
very well pointed out by Pawan, that these all are activities that should be seen as digital in its entirety, rather than just bombarding your target audience with emails or flyers or banner advertising.
Right, right. Interesting. So actually, I think typically people think that the job of the pharmaceutical company, whether it's medical rep or a brand manager or even any senior person, is to detail, say, present, not to
Yes.
listen. This is unfortunate, very unfortunate, insensitive. As a marketer, the first thing we should listen, observe, see, then respond, then speak. Anyway, so you came to this now concluding time right now. So I would request everybody, all three panelists, to give a clear-cut message what you find, you feel that will be triggering some discussion further, or inspiring the brand managers who are in the call, or compelling the senior managers in this group right now who are in there to deep dive further on this potential and possibilities out of content marketing in pharmaceutical. So maybe you take 10 to 20 seconds, very brief, and after that, anybody in the audience who have a very, very sound point to make precisely of content marketing, not the other area. I see Ajay Shah and many people writing some things which is important thing, but we are not going from the point of the content marketing here. I want to make a point. I invite them to make a point also. But first of all, let's go one by one. Fanees, then Dr. Sunil, and then Pawan for a final 20-second message to the audience.
As we discussed before, Pranav, that it is not going to be about one marketing channel over others. It's going to be more like integrated marketing in our efforts. And future of marketing is going to be about how we as a marketer can orchestrate the content marketing across all these channels. And as the pharma marketing matures, the questions like impact analysis and customer experience in digital content marketing is going to be asked. So we as a marketer need to map the HCP and patient journey at all the touch points and improve their customer experience. As organizations, we need to shift our approach from sales-driven companies to marketing-driven companies. And we need to focus more and more on execution as well as a strategy. So strategy is, of course, number one, but unless we can match it up with the right execution, nothing is going to work. So that's all I would like to tell about it.
Dr. Sunil?
I would sum it up with a take-home message. And my take-home message will hover around 6 points. And basically, these 6 points should be the approach of a marketer towards marketing practices, which also includes content marketing. The first one is you should have an objective in front of you. The first is objective. That why are you doing this? What is your objective of doing it? Having laid down an objective, you should have a strategy, and the strategy should be connected with either the patient journey or the doctor journey, and it should address any particular aspect in either of these journeys. Number 3, the strategy should add value to the stakeholder. Otherwise, it's not a strategy. Number 4, the strategy should be supportive. Is it supporting in real life? That is what I said earlier. Is it helping me out in my real current situation? Number 5, I should be reflecting myself as a trustworthy partner in healthcare. And number 6, all this should actually simplify the entire process of the patient as well as the doctor in today's context. So I would actually communicate these 6 points which also includes the content marketing as an approach towards marketing.
Lovely. Over to Pawan. You need to switch on your microphone, Pawan.
Thank you, sir. This thing, he has given 6 points. I am going to give 5 points as promised, which I remember. These are 5 C's, which the way I remember, because this has been this thing. First is a correct content. There are a lot of mistaken content. Correct content about your brands needs to be on the this thing, which is linking to your brand objective, one, and brand message. Second is cutting the crap. There are a lot of crap around your brand, your indication, misinformation, because doctors can't explain the medical and patient can't understand the medical. So there is a big gap which has not been filled. So cut the crap of misinformation, use the thing. Third most important, which we all forget, cause and context. And what cause and what context we are setting. This content, whichever brand, I'm speaking per se, if a brand manager thinking on a brand perspective, what is the cause and content, right? Example, a quick example, Nirma had one washing powder 10-15 years back, which didn't have lather, but it was equally working. The Indian tendency was more lather means more cleaning. So they reversed the message and they did a huge campaign which was successful, which all of us remember, sirf 2 bucket kafi hai. So how you set the context to your brand and relate to your brand around and give you a new cause, one. Fourth most important point, control the SEOs. It is not that today you have made a microsite, you have made a web page, your medical content is there on your website and you forget, it is gone. You all be surprised. We all learn half-life. There is half-life for your tweets and posts. You can Google and check. They measure the half-life of a post you put on Facebook. They measure the half-life of a tweet. A tweet half-life is 24 minutes. Means within 24 minutes it reaches to maximum people, and within 3 hours it reaches your 75% of your targeted. Facebook is little longer because the size is more. So first is correct the content. Second is cut the crap. Third is cause and context. Define a cause, not just push branding. Fourth is controlled SEOs. Search engine optimization has to be consistently be done. You can't expect quick results. Don't expect quick results. Last but not the least, with even Panish told this is a issue with pharma company, welcome negation. That is the last C is crisis plugins. You remember what happens in crisis management is your product is short, your product has a leakage or anything which comes on social media. People won't remember in crisis. People won't remember the crisis. In crisis, people remember how the company responded quickly or how quickly. And that is why you will remember all celebrities asking apology. But for what they have asked apology, we don't remember. But they have asked apology, we remember. So that is how. So correct content, cut the crap, cause and context, control the SEOs, and crisis. Crisis plugins is important. So my final point take home is, breakthrough innovations doesn't happen until unless we break our own traditional methods. So the new form, maybe take it as an opportunity. It is not going to take away somebody's job. It has this, Corona has helped us to look into forced us to look into different directions. So true. That is how I end my point.
Very good.
Pranav, can I add one point over here?
Please.
One point.
Go ahead.
I just want to elaborate in one line that what exactly is the requirement of a strategy is a thought process in your actions. And that thought process must be basically answering the question why, which is very important for marketers, that why are you undertaking a particular activity? Why are you undertaking a particular tactic or a tool? And I would request marketers to read one fantastic book, Start with Why by Simon Sinek. and you should start with why before coming to a particular conclusion. That is what I would like to.
Very good. Simon is my favorite author, blogger also. Let me read a comment by Roomage Genetics. You rightly said that content marketing is very specialized job which requires a lot of knowledge and skill besides communication. I do agree with this point also. And actually, you need to learn that. And this session is only to trigger the inspiration so that you go and find out, Google it, attend the sessions, classes, wherever available, learn it, deploy it, experience it, learn it, refine it, redeploy it. That's the objective. So thank you, gentlemen. I think I'm not able to take all the questions here because of we have already exceeded 22 minutes more. I don't want to hold more people here. We keep on this Friday at 5 session. As long as possible, you people to join that. Thank you, everybody.